So as with life, if you go around humping, you're going to eventually end up paying child support. So let's get supporting. So the next step in our bonnet hump series, this is part 2, is making the supports. So we've done our bonnet hump, as you can see it's all welded in. This is the underside, and you can see the massive gap that we have left after the bonnet hump has been installed. So we need to fix that. So I've done one already, as you can see here. So a little bit of slicing and dicing, and we get it to fit nice and snug. We have to do the same to that one. Let's get cracking. Okay, so understanding where you need to make your cuts is pretty simple. So for instance, this needs to come up like that, so that this part can curve down into the hump. It will never fold or bend with these swages here. So that's what the issue is. You can bend along this line here. You can bend that up like that. You can bend this up that way, along that edge there, but you will not get this to bend up here. So you need to make a few cuts. Either I cut not across the front top, because that's fine, that'll bend once your cuts get up to that point, but you need to cut along here, along this swage here, and along that bend there. For bends such as these that need to go down, obviously once you bend it, the gap that you've sliced gets smaller. So what you do, just go through it again. So close it up, slice it again with the cutting disc, and do it slowly until you find the point where it gets the bend perfectly how you want. Okay, so now it's just a matter of finessing the shape just before welding. So I've removed the epoxy paint from the areas that need to be welded, just to prepare it all and get it all ready for welding. So areas like this where these two curves sort of meet here, I've just panel beaded that area down a little bit, so that instead of it being like such a sharp sort of meeting point, this starts curving down and meets this one. So the same thing's been done there, but this one hasn't been done. Now if you put the two together, you can sort of see it creates like a really sharp sort of edge in a corner. So you want to sort of finesse that a little bit, just beat it down so that that edge starts already curving and meeting this panel, so that when you weld it and then grind all the weld off, it's nice and smooth and sort of looks, as if it hasn't been modified. I guess it looks like a factory stamping. These areas here will need a filler piece, which I did for those ones over there anyway. So filler piece there, looks like I'll need one for here. There's a nice maybe 10mm gap there, and these areas here, but the rest of them should be okay. Maybe these ones, see how we go. But the shape's correct, it's nice and flat, it meets the skin without, you know, having to press down so hard and it bouncing back up again, which is good. That's exactly what we want, so that when we put the sealant underneath it, the panel bond or whatever it is, to sandwich in between these two panels, it'll all be perfect and won't sort of try and suck the skin back towards the ribbing and support. Okay, just to show you what I've done here, they're just little aluminium strips that I've cut out, 1mm, and I've wedged it underneath the frame that's existing on the bonnet, so that when the new frame comes along and sits there, I can get them to meet up perfectly and being aluminium, when I weld the two together, it's not going to weld onto the bonnet. I don't want the frame to weld onto the bonnet. I just want it to support the bonnet, but not actually be attached to the bonnet skin. Just stay here, pants. turned out really, really nice. I'm really happy with that. We've got a few gaps here and there, so you can see like a rather large gap there and a smaller gap here. But if you look at the rest of the factory bracing, it's exactly the same. So you'll have a small gap there, and then over here, so you've got much larger gaps. So this is sort of factory stuff. Small gap, big gap. So it suits. It sort of, you know, mimics a factory look. I'm going to put some seam sealer once it's all, you know, all the bodywork's been done. This is just epoxy, obviously. So I'll seam seal all these and make them all nice and smooth. And plus so water doesn't get in there and that sort of stuff. But really, really happy with it. I was after a factory look, and that's exactly what it's sort of done. Okay, so there we have it, guys. We've humped the bonnet, given it a real good one. It's turned out really nice. We've given it the support that it needs as well. So all the back's done, all the ribbing, all the bracing, whatever you want to call it. It looks factory, that's the look I'm going for. So someone looks at the bonnet and goes, oh yeah, that looks nice, and doesn't really pick up on what's been done. Something completely different. I have found out that somebody has done this before. I had never seen it. I'm still yet to see it. Wouldn't mind seeing what it actually looks like once it's all painted and that, so I got an idea of what mine will look like. But I'm really happy with it. I'm happy with the positioning of the hump. The highest point being exactly the same as the highest point of the 6-cylinder where it sits inside the engine bay. So that peak of the, not that it needs clearance or anything anyway, but it certainly helps that it mimics something that would have been done by the factory. So now it's all in epoxy, you get more of an idea of exactly how it sort of flows with the rest of the bonnet. It's all sealed up. I've sealed up the bottom of the bracing, did all that, then welded it all in place so no rust should reappear or anything like that. It's all sealed. The whole car's sealed in the epoxy for anyone that's sort of inquiring or wants to know. No bodywork's been done on the car just yet.